Tensions in the Middle East have escalated dramatically once again as the United States of America launched a fresh wave of airstrikes on Iran. Early today, in the ongoing conflict between Washington and Tehran. Well, the latest military action come just hours after US President Donald Trump announced that the US was reinstating a blockade on Iran in the strategically vital Strait of Hormuz, that is one of the world's busiest and most important energy shipping routes. Well, the US Central Command confirmed that American forces had begun another round of strikes targeting Iranian military positions. And according to the US military, the objective is to further weaken Iran's offensive capabilities and reduce its ability to attack commercial shipping and civilians operating in the Strait of Hormuz. President Donald Trump described the operation as another major attack and said that the United States was hitting Iran very hard, adding that military operations would continue. And Donald Trump also claimed that the US is now taking control of the Strait of Hormuz and restoring the blockade on Iran. In a significant shift in American policy, he announced that commercial vessels passing through the strait would be required to pay the United States for maritime protection. And according to Donald Trump, America has spent enormous resources safeguarding one of the world's most critical shipping lanes and should now be reimbursed by nations benefiting from its security. The proposed move would represent a major departure from decades of US support for unrestricted freedom of navigation in international waters. Iran responded swiftly to the latest American strikes by launching retaliatory attacks across the Gulf region. Iranian forces targeted Bahrain and struck two oil tankers linked to the United Arab Emirates while they were sailing through the Strait of Hormuz in the Omani waters. The UAE Defense Ministry confirmed that the tankers identified as Mombasa and Al-Bayya were hit by two Iranian cruise missiles and both the vessels caught fire before the flames were brought under control. The attack resulted in the death of one Indian crew member aboard the tanker Mombasa and 8 others were injured, including 6 Indian nationals and 2 Ukrainian crew members. The UAE strongly condemned the attack and warned that it reserves the right to respond with all the necessary measures in order to protect its territory, citizens and commercial interests. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps claimed responsibility for targeting the tankers, alleging that the vessels ignored repeated warnings and entered what it described as a restricted zone before being attacked. Meanwhile, Bahrain also came under renewed missile attacks from Iran and authorities activated nationwide missile warning sirens twice and urged residents to seek the shelter. Jordan's military later announced that it had intercepted 4 Iranian missiles that crossed its airspace, preventing further escalation, and there were no immediate reports of casualties or damage in Bahrain. Well, in another significant development, Iran claimed that its Revolutionary Guard had shot down an American MQ-1 civilian drone over the Strait of Hormuz. Well, Iranian state media reported that the drone was brought down while operating over the strategic waterway, although there has been no immediate confirmation from the US. The Strait of Hormuz remains at the center of this conflict, and nearly 1/5 of the world's crude oil and liquefied natural gas supplies pass through this narrow maritime corridor during normal conditions, making it one of the most strategically important waterways in the world. Growing military activity in the region has raised concerns over global energy supplies and the international trade. And reflecting all those concerns, Brent crude oil prices climbed above $84 per barrel during early trading, reaching their highest level in nearly a month. Analysts warn that continued instability in the Gulf could push fuel prices even higher, impacting economies worldwide. President Donald Trump reiterated that the U.S. intends to remain the guardian of the Strait of Hormuz and insisted that the waterway will remain open with or without Iran. He further announced that the U.S. plans to impose a 20% security charge on cargo passing through the strait as compensation for providing maritime protection. And if implemented, the proposal could significantly reshape global shipping practices and trigger fresh international debate over maritime law and freedom of navigation. And the latest exchange of strikes follows months of growing hostilities between the two nations, with repeated attacks on military installations, commercial vessels and strategic infrastructure across the region. Although both the sides had earlier indicated a willingness to engage in diplomatic talks, recent military actions have cast serious doubt over prospects for de-escalation, and President Donald Trump has also stated that the previous ceasefire understanding is effectively over, while Iranian leaders have ensured to continue retaliatory action. And with military operations intensifying, regional tensions rising, and the global energy markets reacting sharply, the conflict has entered another dangerous phase. The international community is closely monitoring developments as fears grow that the confrontation could expand further across the Middle East, affecting global security, international trade, and oil supplies. That's all for now. Stay tuned to the Savera for more updates. Do like, comment, and subscribe to the channel.